Welcome, friends. I'm excited to be here with you today. We are in a really powerful, sometimes confusing, sometimes exciting and exhilarating cauldron of change right now. And I know that, it's pretty intense. Like, I just have to say, like in my own life, it's like I feel the intensity of the energy that's happening. And so if you're feeling that, just know a lot of us, is particularly those of us who are paying attention, who are more energetically sensitive. And so we're coming into this next really kind of 36 hours. And I wanted to tune in with you here now so that you can have a practice that you can be doing for yourself over the next few days if you choose to, that'll support you to be able to make the most out of this particular alignment that we're moving into, and also just the time that we're in. So, hi, Rebecca, and go ahead and pop your name into the chat and let us know where you're coming in from. Hello, Snai and Helga. Hello, friends. So yeah, come on in, say hello, and we're gonna dive right in because I want us to have our full time. So this is called the Lionsgate live stream, and it's really looking at the live stream and also the Aquarius full moon. So the Aquarius full moon is happening at about 2 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday morning. So it's really kind of Friday night. So the Lionsgate is a portal that is open for about 2 weeks. And we're coming right up on the peak of it. The 8th is the peak. And so tomorrow is the peak, and then we have a full moon basically right on top of it. So I will be showing you some slides with some aspects that you can see kind of what, from a human design point of view, what's going on. And I just want to say hello, Bogdana. Hello, Helga. Hello, Tanya. Hello, Sone. Hello, Ruth. Hello, Ola. Good to see all of you here. Yay, yay, yay. All right. So as people are coming online, it always takes a couple of minutes for people to find their way. I would like to just alert you to a couple of things. So one is that today I released a video, which is about the 5 reasons you might be struggling with your human design. I decided to create this video because I wanted to create a bigger context for human design, because I think a lot of people get stuck at certain points along the way. And a lot of it has to do with how you're approaching human design, and also probably your understanding of what human design is. So I really encourage you to go and watch this video. It's up on my channel right now, just came out this morning. And I think that it's going to give you some insights if you've had some challenges with, kind of being like, I don't quite get how I work with this. So, and I would love if you would leave a comment so I know how it lands for you. Like, there was one person already this morning who just said, oh my gosh, this was so helpful. Just helped me shift my whole perspective. So if you do feel challenged at all, or if you're just curious and know other people who are challenged, then go and check that out. Okay, so that's one thing. I wanted to let you know that you can now download from our site a free human design chart and your mandala. It's available at yourfreehumandesignchart.com. This is what they look like. I'm really happy to be able to provide the mandala because before I used to have to run them on professional software manually and give them to you. So you can get this now. And then if you want to go another step further, we also have created your custom human design reading report. It's 50 pages. It gives you all of the fundamental information that you need for your human design. But what I did purposely is I didn't give you all the details with every single piece, because one of the reasons that I talk about in the video I released this morning that people get stuck with human design is they get stuck at the level of information and they're trying to memorize all the information, which is extremely difficult to do. And it takes a long time and it's really not the right way to do it. So with this, I really gave you insights about your type, strategy, authority, which are the primary things you really need to dive into and live for a while, but then also the centers, because that would be the next step for you. So that's what's in here. But then there's also information about how do you understand your human design. So it talks about, for example, definition and openness and what that means. How do you actually read the mandala? A variety of different things like that. Fundamentals about human design. So the link for that is down in the description here on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, I'll go ahead and pop that in when we're done and you can come back and check that out. Okay. So this is something I've wanted to offer for a long time, but it just hasn't, we finally got the software that would enable us to do that. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit today. And I will encourage you, if you do have questions or comments, please do, y'all chat in the chat if you want to. I will come back and look at questions later. So do feel free to put them in, but I'm not necessarily going to see them, pay attention to them immediately, okay? Because we've got, I've got something I really want us to enjoy, to move through today. Okay, so these are the charts, the human design snapshots for these 2 moments in time. So the only difference between today and tomorrow, so the peak of the Lion's Gate is tomorrow. The only difference in this chart from today, well, actually there's 2. One is that the moon isn't in place yet for the Aquarius full moon that we're going to be going to, but also Venus is not today. Venus is not in the 39. But by tomorrow, Venus will have moved into the 39. So let's just approach these. And like I said, this is something that's going to really help for today. And it will carry you through the next few days. But I also encourage you to come back to this process again, come back to the Kriya again, come back to the energy work again, and kind of keep working it. Because if you do, I think what you'll experience is you'll be able to go deeper. You'll be able to go deeper through different layers. Okay, so the Lion's Gate is a period of time when the star Sirius rises and sets at the same time as the sun, or right next to it. It's considered conjunct in astrology. Okay, so that's what creates the Lion's Gate. And the Lion's Gate is it's also associated with the Lyrans and the star Vega. And so depending on your interest in our galactic neighbors, right, we have different influences that are coming to us from different star systems. And so this is one where we're really connecting with the Lyrans and with those from Sirius. And to know that there are many ancient monuments here on Earth that are associated with Sirius and the movement of Sirius. So the ancient peoples had a relationship with Sirius. And so whether you can, if you want to go into a dive on that and study that, but what we're going to do today isn't going to require that. It's really just going to be requiring you to be self-connecting, and I'll guide you through that. But I want to lay the foundation for that for you today and know what kind of supportive energies you have available to you. So like I said, these 2 charts also are very similar to each other. The one thing that's going to happen over here is the moon's going to come into place in the gate 13. That's really the major shift from the Lion's Gate over until these are only not even 13 hours apart. So there's not a lot that shifts there except the moon. So here with the Lion's Gate and with the full moon in Aquarius, I want to draw your attention to this channel right here. Now I did, and also if you haven't watched it yet, I did a whole video on the Aquarius full moon and the Lion's Gate, which goes much more in depth to these things. So you can also find that on my YouTube channel if you haven't already seen that, because I'm not going to do a deep dive on this. But I do want to let you know this channel right here, which is being lit up, by the Sun in the gate 7, and then by Mercury in the gate 31. This is the channel of collective leadership. So in traditional human design, it was known as the channel of the Alpha. And it was kind of considered that the 31 was like the president and the 7 was like the chief of staff. And so it was in a democratic context, but it was still relatively hierarchical. At this point, with quantum human design, with where we're at, we're evolving the energies of this particular channel to be more New Earth leadership. So 7 has been renamed in quantum human design for collaboration. And the 31 is leadership. Okay. And so what I want to invite you to consider, and just to say that earlier in the month, the Sun was in the 31 and Venus was in the 7. So this channel has been getting up a lot in recently. And so I want to just emphasize that the celestial energies have been pointing us to what kind of leadership are we currently offering? How can we step into another layer of our leadership? And I know that a lot of people are uncomfortable with the idea of leadership, particularly if you look out into the world and, on the major, world stage today, you might have some issues with some of the ways you're seeing political leadership being expressed. And that's totally understandable. And what this is really a trajectory to a different form of leadership, which is available to and also really important for all of us to be developing for ourselves. And so as I go through this, I want you to just be aware, how it feels in your body when you think about stepping into another level of leadership for yourself. And because it's such a vital part of our time, I think that we have often ceded our power to leaders. We've kind of given away the ability to make choices. We've given away our inner guidance. We've given away our sense of agency to outer authority. And for me, even though this is collective leadership, which means it's not just about the self, it's about how we show up in the world. It is also about how are we evolving and really expanding our own ability to step into leadership in our own lives. Now, I imagine that you probably have been hearing about this idea that there are these two different timelines that have split and are evolving. So whatever your particular perspective on that is, I do want to say that I think that there is a trajectory, which is the one that we see in mainstream media, and we certainly see being asserted by powers that be that are it's pretty fear invoking, right? It's like trying to get us to be afraid, and then if we're afraid, to get angry so that we'll take some other kind of action, right? Or give our power and say, what do we need to do, to be safe? And so we so much want to feel safe, right? We so much want to feel like we have a place in the world where we can be, where it can be safe. I am very highly aware that there are many places on the planet, many neighborhoods, even here in the United States, where people are not safe, right? In terms of there being actual coercion and violence going on. And yet there's an awful lot of us that are not in the immediate danger of our physical body being hurt, right? But there is this invoking of different kinds of stories and narratives that are designed to invoke fear in us and designed to make us, for example, want revenge, right? So take a look at that for yourself, because all of that is really low frequency energy, right? It's very much in the power over paradigm where either you're trying to, kind of get some power for yourself so you can fight back, or you're giving away your power to others, right? But either way, you don't really feel safe and you don't really feel comfortable. And so we want to step out of that. Okay. We want to step out of that victim, perpetrator, rescuer paradigm. Excuse me. And we want to step into a different form of power and a different form of leadership. And that's what this other trajectory is about. This other trajectory is really based in recognizing that we are all in this together. From the yoga traditions, I would say this is unity consciousness, the recognition that we are all expressions of divine source energy. Every single thing is, even this pen is an expression of divine source energy. Even people who you don't like in your life, right? They're also expressions of divine source energy. And it creates a bigger context for us to kind of step back from the machinations in the human world that can make us uncomfortable, right? The fighting, the conflict, right kind of energy that's going on in the human world, so that we can actually expand to have a bigger context to see that whatever it is that we're doing, we're in this larger unfolding really of the universe and our place inside of it. And so that's what that's where I turn my attention, is the desire to create a world that works for everyone. We have enough resources on the planet to support everybody. We just need to distribute them differently, right? And so we're really looking at that. How does that happen? And we're also looking at the breakdown of the old systems, which we're seeing all around us in many different ways, depending on where you are in the world, and that can invoke a lot of fear as well. And what we're wanting to do is, rather than kind of keep focusing on what's breaking down, is to fuel what we're creating. And that's also part of this new trajectory, which is more new earth energy. And one of the things to realize is that when we're in the midst of a big breakdown, there are these pockets. I forget who I meant to get the quotation for this, but this was, invoked by someone recently, which is that during times of chaos, there are islands of coherence, right, that can help to determine the next sort of trajectory of development. And that when things are too set in place, right, it's hard to actually shift things. And so that's what I see going on, is we've got chaos in the old world and the old ways of doing things. And yet we are currently creating these centers of coherence, right? These sacred vortexes of high frequency energy that are currently contributing to creating this new trajectory and this new world. And I think this is happening on smaller scales and on many, many levels. So for example, even in my practice that I do, I feel like I'm doing that. I'm helping to create this new vortex. For you, for all of us here who are currently here live and those who are going to be watching it later, we're also creating a vortex of high frequency energy, right? That is helping to fuel that trajectory. Every time you take an action where you don't choose fear, right? And you choose possibility, you choose expansion, you choose spirit, right? Every time you do that, you're fueling this new trajectory. So that is what we're going to be practicing on that today. And this 31-7, right? This channel, which is right here. Think about that. This is energy coming from the identity center, right? This is who we are, a sense of self. And here, since this is collective circuitry, it's kind of like our collective sense of self. Right. And then it's fueling the throat. And when we bring energy to the throat, this is an energy for activating and manifesting and expressing. It's not a motorized energy, but it's still an energy for love and lovability, identity and direction, because that's coming from that G center right up into the throat. And so just when you think about wanting to step in a little bit more into the frequency of, this new earth leadership energy, it's like, what do you, what are you going to invoke for yourself, and how are you going to go about that? So here, when we look at the chart, like I said, we've got this beautiful channel here. Can you let me know if you can see my cursor? Because I'm doing something with my cursor, but I'm going through this software, and I don't know if you can see me when I'm pointing to this channel. So this channel is right here. But then we also have the Earth is in the gate 13, and then tomorrow, then on the early morning of Saturday, the Moon is going to move into place here in the gate 13. You can't see it, okay? So just look for this channel over here that is, connecting the throat to the G center. And then over on the right-hand side of the screen, there's actually a circle around the 13. And so what we're going to have is um, the Moon and the Earth are going to both be in the gate 13 during this time of the Aquarius full moon. And so the gate 13 is known as narrative. It's a storytelling gate. And it's going to give you the opportunity to tell a new story about yourself, a new story about life, a new story about leadership, a new story about what's possible, a new story about the new earth. And so this is a really vital part of this full moon, is for us to be taking a look at what are the stories we've been living inside of. And are those stories empowering, or are they disempowering? Are they motivating? Are they aspirational? Are they inspiring? Are they fueling you and giving you energy? Or are they draining you, making you feel like a victim, or feel like you're at the mercy of things outside of yourself? So this is a big part of what's going to be lit up here during this full moon, but we're already in it because the Earth is already in that 13 right now, and it'll be there through the weekend, as long as the sun is in the gate 7 as well. So we're going to still have that 7 and 13 going on for a few days. Okay, so let's see, what did I want to yeah. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share about those particular alignments. And now I want you to, if you don't already, get yourself a pen and a piece of paper or your journal. You can have a candle with yourself if you'd like. If that makes you feel like you're in sacred space, I always have my particular lights on. I'm going to have a sip of water. So go ahead. Let me know when you've got your pen and your journal. Okay, just pop it in the chat so I know you're ready. Okay, you're all off getting your pens. Okay. Mhm, mhm. Okay, so I'm going to just talk a little bit more, and then I'm going to guide you into a little bit of an inner journey, and we'll do also an energy practice that will help you to clear some of that energy, and then you'll get to receive a message from your own inner being or your soul. Okay, so just to kind of encapsulate, all these things that I've been talking about, I feel like this is a really important time for us to be owning our power, and our power in a new way. And I want to, if you're not familiar with this already, this is my book on feminine sovereignty called Feminine Sovereignty: 8 Pillars for Regenerating Ourselves and Our World. And this book is really a treatise on power. And so I think power is really misunderstood in our world today. We tend to really associate power just with power over. But what I'm really wanting to support you with is to start to reclaim and then grow and expand your inner power, which comes from the inside. It comes from your connection with your inner being or your divine self, or what I like to call your light being within, right? Because you have a spirit light being aspect, which is animating this physical form that you have. right? And so we're wanting to develop our own personal power, our own personal sovereignty by getting really connected to the part of you that you know is you, right? The personality you, the you of everyday reality who is navigating the different challenges that you have and the responsibilities that you have and the obligations that you have, right? That part and the light being within, right? Whether you want to call that your wise one within or your inner being or your divine self, right? We have many different names for it. But it's really just this spirit expression that is you, that is coming through this form, right? That is you. And so your true power lies from your integration with your divine self. That is where your true power comes from. And the reason that we're not so connected to it is that we have so many negative thoughts about ourselves, by and large, right? We have so many negative thoughts about ourselves. We have self-judgment, we have self-doubt, we have unworthiness, we have undeservingness, like so many of these things. So everybody has them. It's not particular to you. It's not particular to me. It's something that is just like this mantra that we as humans have been programmed with for a long time. And we're at this opportunity point here here on planet Earth to change that. So the first thing I want you to take a look at is just consider for yourself. So go ahead and close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, take a breath. So just putting down anything that you've been involved in. This part's going to require your full presence. So if you've been multitasking, if you're driving, you might as well come back to this. Watch the recording when you can bring your full attention, okay? So we're just going to take a couple of breaths, bringing your attention inside, breathing right into your heart. Feel your chest rise and fall underneath your hands. Bringing your awareness right into the center of your head, in between your ears. And also right into the center of your chest. And then all the way down into the pelvic floor, your tailbone, the seat of the soul. Good. And then see if you can tune into the central column, runs right up the front of the spine from the perineum, the pelvic floor, right to the crown of your head. So just tuning in, noticing if your spine shifts, expands a little bit as you bring in that attention. Good. Just nice, gentle, long, deep breaths. And then tune in for a moment. If you are a character in your life, if you imagine that your life is like a play and you are a character on stage in your life, what kind of character are you here? What kind of role are you playing? How are you currently showing up in your life? Try not to think about this. Just tune in and see what emerges from your inner being. Noticing first the ways that you feel like, wow, I really show up great in that situation. I'm fully on board. I'm present. I'm able. I have capacity in this particular way that I show up in my life. I'm proud of how I am inhabiting myself and animating my life in this particular area. Keep breathing, stay present, call yourself back if your mind starts wandering. And then tuning in to a place where you feel like, not so happy about how I'm showing up in this area. Notice if you have self-judgment that starts to chime in, starts to download as soon as you come to a place that you feel like, yeah, I'm not where I really want to be in this particular area. Just notice what happens inside of you. Do you have an inner voice that starts to say, yeah, you should be better at that, or you've been ignoring that? Why do you keep not paying attention there? Why are you whatever? Why are you not? Whatever that voice is, and see if you can just notice it. Don't believe it, but just notice what starts to come in. Keep breathing, allowing this to come to the surface. So don't try to push it away. Don't believe it and fall into it, but just notice it. Okay. We want to call up the undeserving, the unworthy, the not enoughness, right? The too muchness, right? The not pretty enough, not the right size, not the right shape, not smart enough, whatever that, just let it come up to the surface. Take some breaths. I know I've been really tuning in to some deep conditioning that I have that I didn't know that was there, that was associated with guilt and shame, which are not emotions that I typically am aware of. So let it come up. This is part of our process here. Okay. But just hold space for it, kind of expand to hold space for this way you're showing up that you don't love. Right. Okay. So we're just going to bracket that. And then how would you like to show up? Just pick one area of your life, one thing you can focus on that you would like. I would really like to show up in my life in this way. And what are some of the attributes of that? What are some of the characteristics about that? Like if I would really like to show up in this relationship with better boundaries so that I can be present and I can care for this person, but I don't fall into codependence. That could be an example. Or I really want to show up better with my money. I want to make sure I track it really well. I know, what my numbers are so I can make informed choices. That's an area where people often have a lot of negative energy about themselves, relationship, money, could be about your work in the world. It's like not really showing up for work in my world the way that I want. I keep going, I keep going, I keep going. I need to pay my bills, but man, I don't really love this, right? So whatever it is for you, just tune in. How is there a place in your life that you're like, you're going to develop a positive quality that you want to be embodying as you're writing this new story for yourself? You're writing a new story for yourself that you can step into where you are manifesting and expressing this new quality. So just hold that for a sec. Deep breaths. Just noticing if you have any, fear about time or money. Those are big ones, right? Any anxiety about time and money, any anxiety about what's going to happen, your future, what's going to happen for you personally, for your community, for our world. Just really tuning in. What is it there? Just kind of bring it up. Okay. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and rub our hands together. So notice how you're feeling in your body right now. Notice if there's a place that got activated when we were looking at the ways we're not showing up that we'd really like to. Okay. And then what your desire is. Okay. Because then that's something that we're going to come back to. All right, so we're going to do a Kundalini yoga practice. So we're going to do 2 physical practices, each which have a breath aspect, and then we're going to do 2 different mantras, and that's going to leave you in a really kind of calm, centered, and expanded state. And that will be a place where you can do some real imagining of how you want to be showing up. And one of the things I want to underscore for you, I was talking about New Earth leadership. You just being here, you staying here and doing this practice, or coming back if you have to leave, you just showing up for your life and upgrading yourself on the inside so that you can access a new set of possibilities. That is a form of leadership. Okay. Because what you're doing is you're creating a template that people can step into that is potentially more empowering for them. Okay. So this Kriya, the first part, we're going to take the arms and we're going to just be push. You can rotate the torso. Okay. But it's primarily from the hips because I'm sitting down. So you can be sitting down and we're just going to be pushing these out. And we're going to do this with the O mouth. Now the O mouth moves a lot of energy fast. So as you do this, as we do this, just hang in there. If you need to take a break, you can. It's fine. Come back and join us. Obviously, if you have a shoulder thing and this is difficult for you, then don't do that. Just imagine that you're doing it. You could also do it smaller and just imagine that you're doing it because you can activate the same responses even if you are uh, um, even if you're not doing it physically. Okay. All right. So let's do this. So it's going to be in and out through the O mouth. Like I said, it's going to move a lot of energy quickly. So just make sure that you're centered and grounded. And here we go. 3 minutes. And close your eyes. Just drop in. We're really juicing up your heart energy here. Building energy. And also releasing. Close your eyes and drop in. Releasing unworthiness, releasing undeservedness, releasing fear, releasing anxiety. It's okay if your mouth gets a little dry. It's okay if you get a little lightheaded. Stay in there. Just 30 more seconds. Big breath in and hold. Pull the arms back. Squeeze your pelvic floor. Push the energy up the front of the spine into the heart. Let the heart expand. And then into the center of the head. Pause. Try to relax your shoulders, even as there's integrity in your torso. And exhale. Palms are down. First finger and thumb are touching. Just take a few deep breaths. Tune inside. Eyes closed. Be very still. Let the energy settle. Allow the energy body, the light being within, to expand slightly. You may feel it in your hands, your arms, your legs, your torso. Just a gentle expansion happening all throughout your energy field. See if you can trace the outline of your body from the inside. This is your domain. And then tuning in to a bubble of energy all around you, 360 degrees. This is also your domain. Your auric field. Beautiful. Okay. So the next part is we're gonna take our hands in a kind of prayer position, and we're gonna have them at the heart, and we're gonna chop. So this last one was really building energy, right? So I hope you feel more energy. Go ahead, put in the chat. Do you feel more energy in your body now after just doing that one? Yeah, I'd love to hear. So just say yes or why, or no, or N. Did you feel more energy in your body? So the first one was building energy. This one we're going to use to help open the heart even more. Okay. So it's a gentle chopping. Okay. And we're going to use breath of fire. So breath of fire does not have to be super intense, even though it sounds like it, right? But it's basically the emphasis is on the exhale. So it's through the nose. And then an inhale. Yeah, you feel bigger, right? I feel bigger too. I really felt like my whole energy field expanded, right? And one of the things that David Clements has been talking about, he's a theoretical physicist who is now working with light energy, is that we're actually literally bringing more light into our physical form when we're doing different practices. So yeah, we actually are changing on the cellular level when we do this. It's very cool. Okay, so breath of fire. You're just gently pushing in on your belly. It's not a big, huge, this was actually a more intense breath. That's a more intense breath. This one is a little more gentle, but it's very effective. And then we're going to chop at the heart. Now, what I want you to do is when you're coming in here is I want you to imagine that you're just chopping away at self-doubt. You're chopping away at all that self-judgment. You're chopping away at the not enoughness, the too muchness, the undeserving, the unworthy, whatever it is, right? Because you want to free your heart, right? And a lot of times when we have trauma, right? We close our hearts off in different ways, right? We put up armor, really, or gate, walls, or gates, whatever, right? So what we want to do is to be able to soften all that, and just know your inner being is not going to let you open up your heart beyond what's good for you today. So that's not something you need to be concerned about. Sometimes people do. Okay, so breath of fire with chopping. All right, let me put on my timer here. And here we go. Close your eyes. See if you can really tune into the breath. It's activating your energy at the navel point. And then bring your attention up into your heart center, keeping it with your belly as well. Just inviting your heart to soften and heal and open just to the degree that's right for you. See if you can drop in. Letting your mind just become very quiet and still. Relaxing your jaw. Letting your eyeballs float a little bit in the sockets. Just chopping away what no longer has a purpose in your heart. Letting go of anxiety, stress, negative thought forms, negative things you tell yourself about yourself. Anything that came up for you when we were doing our tuning in, just bring it up here to be released. About 30 more seconds. You're doing great. Almost there. Good. And big breath in. And hold. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Push the energy up into the heart. Let the heart expand. Let's go ahead and reach the arms out. Feel the way the heart expands. Just hold that heart expansion here. Hold as long as you can, but don't force or stress. Exhale when you need to. We say in pranayama that the true breath work is during the holds. Good. And exhale. Palms are in your lap. First finger and thumb touching. Again, pause, tune in. Just long, deep breaths. And building, opening, releasing energy in a different way. Noticing how you feel. Again, tracing your body from the inside. Taking command of your power, of your own form. And then tuning into your auric field. Just reclaiming your power, your authority, your agency, your desire in the outer world. And just pausing, sitting, noticing. Not needing to do anything, just growing your ability to observe and reclaim. This is you. All of this energy is you. Okay. So we're going to do our first mantra. It's called Ong, O-N-G, Ong. And you're going to want that sound to reverberate in your head. So the way we do this is when you do Ong, you put the tip of your tongue right on the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. Ong. So you want to hear them. And you'll have your lips closed. Ong. So hung. So as we do this, do it with me. You can also just listen if for some reason you don't feel like you want to do that. The meaning of this mantra is really creative intelligence of the universe, right? Spirit, source energy, right? Creative, wildfire of energy that is creating all that is. I am that. I am that. I am part of that. Ong Soham. So we're going to do this again for 3 minutes. So I'm just going to invite you to be relaxed. You can have your hands in Gyan Mudra. And if you need to do it at a little bit different timing, that's totally fine. Just do a timing that works for you, or you can just pace with me. All right, here we go. Ong So Hung. Ong So Hung. Ong So Hung. Ong So Hung. Notice how your head becomes like a reverb station, right? There's a lot of vibration going on in your head. Ong So Hung. See if you can feel it all the way into your throat and into your chest. We're activating that new earth leadership. Ong So Hung. 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 Can you feel it all the way into your heart? Ong So Hung. Ong So Hung. Ong So Hung. And big breath in and hold. Squeeze the pelvic floor, send the energy up right into the heart. Let the heart expand. And exhale. Just notice again, tune in. How do you feel? It's the quality of your energy right now. Maybe make just a tiny note in your journal, and you can pop it in the chat if you want, or you could pop it in later, but just notice the quality of your energy now. I feel very stable and calm on the inside. Good. Okay. Last piece. Another mantra with a mudra. This is a really ancient, really simple but powerful mantra. Sa ta na ma. Infinity, life, death, rebirth. Infinity, life, death, rebirth. Okay. So this is like, it's like singing to the universe about the cycles of life. Okay. And it's surprisingly yummy. Let me just put it that way. It has a tune. So follow along with the tune. I'm going to do it with both hands. Satanama. Okay, so follow along. You can listen if you want to, but I would invite you to do it with me. Okay, so I'm going to have my hands in my lap, and I'm going to be doing this with my fingers. Okay, let me just put on my timer. All right, here we go. Satanama, 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 Satanama. This is a way that we just tune in to the universal energy, source energy, and we align with it. Again, just releasing all of the self-judgment, the self-doubt, the criticism, all of that, and just tuning in to this larger context. Satanama, Satanama. This is kind of a Plutonian type of mantra. Very transformative. Satanama, 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 Satanama. You might start having a little Buddha smile. I know I am. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Big breath in and hold. Squeeze your pelvic floor, push the energy up right into your heart, inviting your heart to become your guiding force, your own soul fire. Hold this as long as it's comfortable for you. See if you can push a little bit beyond your normal. And exhale and pause. Notice what's the quality of your energy now. Tuning into your heart, your belly, your head. Some long, deep breaths. Calling in your own soul essence, the light being within your divine self. Calling in this expanded spiritual aspect from the highest light realms. And asking for the support of this part of you to design a vision for how you want to show up. How do you want to be showing up in your life now? You may receive images, feelings, sensations, sounds, colors, just a felt sense. Just opening yourself to receive. And if you want to, you can write in your journal or draw, doodle. Taking a few moments here, just tuning in. There's a message or question you'd like to ask or a message you'd like to receive. Now is a good time for that. Good. And just, if you haven't already, picking up your pen, writing anything that you want that's coming through. What does your soul have to say to you today? Good. And if you're ready, when you're ready, I would love to hear from you about anything you'd like to share, the quality of energy that you feel you're in right now, the anything that you're getting from your message, any questions you might have or comments about the experience that we've had today for the last 45 minutes. I really wanted to give you a deep process that you could do, that you can take with you and be doing, particularly over the next few days. But this will be here for you, so you can come back to it later if you choose. Yeah, how are you feeling right now? What's alive for you? What are you noticing? Hmm. I know I've had some anxiety lately. I think there's like I said, there's a lot of energy coming from the sun into the planet right now. If you're following Stefan Burns or, just even NASA or, any of the sites that are showing us what's going on with the sun, we have a lot of energy coming from the sun, which we're seeing activating volcanoes and earthquakes all over the planet. And so, of course, it's going to be influencing every one of us. So I feel like having practices that really help us to move that kind of energy so we can come back into this more calm, stable place where we can make better choices from, right? And this is also the kind of thing that's helpful to do if you have challenges like activating your strategy and your authority in human design. And this is something I do talk about in that video I mentioned at the beginning. I encourage you to watch about how our left brain, our anxiety, our negative thought forms can get in our way of being able to fully access and express our human design. So I highly encourage you to go and watch that one. But that's also why I'd love to offer these practices, because it helps us to shift out of those states of consciousness that get in our way and shift into the states of consciousness that give us more access. Okay, great. Let's see what you're seeing over here. Okay, Rebecca says quality of energy is dissolving the residual resistance. Yeah, yeah. And Jasmine, I feel tired and sadness. Yeah, it's likely that you would, that if you have sadness that comes up, or like I said, I've been doing some processes. I had some shame come up recently, some guilt. Guilt is not something I usually associate at all, but it was great because it just came up and out of my system. So just know when we do practices like this, if you have what we might think of as either negative feelings or feelings that you don't enjoy as much, just know they're coming up so that they can move through, right? And I think a lot of us have a lot of grief that we try not to feel most of the time, right, Jasmine? So I would say just stay with it, breathe, let it move through you. You might want to keep journaling about it to be like, what is this sadness about, right? And just be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, be generous. Okay. And Bogdana says calm and resilient. Yeah. Yeah. Ola, uplifted. Okay. Helga, larger, more expansive auric field, more radiating, outgoing, colorful, and visible. I love that. Like all these different qualities. That's great. Bogdana is calmness and certainty. That particular kind of sequence does help to get us to the state of calm. A lot of times we need to move energy first before we can get to that, right? We need to shift our state. That's why we do kind of a powerful Kriya first to kind of get it all going, right? And this one, right, is great. And then we can go into something that's a bit more meditative. I mean, that Ong So Hung though, that right? Did you guys? I would love to hear. Did you guys really feel that in your head and your throat and your chest? Like you can start to feel it in your whole body. I've done that mantra for 11 minutes before, and the Satanama just I'm glad that you're enjoying those. Okay. Marisol, calm and felt like I was releasing some sadness. Right. Well, yeah, we've got sadness, we've got anxiety, we've got fear. We just need to keep moving that energy through, right? Because it's when those kind of emotions, they get stuck and they hang out in there, they're in our way of getting into our full expression, right? And so what keeps us kind of stuck in our lives is when we have stuck energy. So just know that's good if you're feeling any of those energies that need to be released. Okay. Rebecca, feeling grace moving in, creating resilient flow and striding forward in self-confidence and grace. I love that. And saying I feel conflicting energies. I saw orange and a lion looking at me and a meditating Buddha, which felt calm and powerful. Also a sort of pain, heaviness, and aching in my chest. I start to recognize the pain as it is an upcoming theme that is asking to be felt. Yeah, and I do. I appreciate you saying that, and I do. And I love that you saw a lion looking at you and a Buddha, right? Lionsgate. Here we are, right? That's so cool that's what you saw. So Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is we wanna be bringing the energies up so that we can have them moving through, right? It's when they don't move that we get into trouble, right? Because when we move the energy, what's underneath that is love. What's underneath that is calm. What is underneath that is compassion and creativity, right? It's all of these things that we desire are in there. They're just kind of covered over sometimes by negative thought forms, negative beliefs, negative, emotions that aren't moving, that kind of thing. Mhm. Yeah. I was like, Aquarius. Okay. Wow. Hope. Thank you for the practices to ground in my body. Feels fabulous. Excellent. So glad. So glad that that was your response, Jasmine. And yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And another thing that David Clements talks about is that we're in a time where in order to ascend, if you will, right? In order to evolve, in order to continue to go into an expanded state, it's these stuck energies that need to be released, right? And all we need to do is feel them as they're going out. You don't need to go in and understand the whole story, or it's not a therapeutic, like I'm going to go in and unpack, what happened to me or anything. It's just the willingness to feel the sadness, to feel the pain, to feel the anger, to feel that whatever it is, just feel it and breathe. But with the intention that it is releasing, right? Just keep intending that it's releasing, and it will. And it will. Okay. Yeah, okay. And Asana says, yeah, it really took me by surprise, was almost second guessing it. That isn't that interesting, right? How we start to second guess, like here's this thing, and we're like, the mind comes in and then wants to, have opinions about it. The mind is full of opinions. Um, right. The gate of opinions is in the ajnas, in our analytical mind, but lots of opinions. So yeah, it can do that. But you also want to be careful with that, right? Because those aren't necessarily accurate at all, right? So trust the energy, trust your inner being. Okay. And Johan says, trust the process, and good balance. Okay, we're in two side by side at this session. Thanks, Maggie. Okay, love the mantras. Great. All right, thanks, Rebecca. All right, so we're gonna. If any other comments? Last call for comments, questions, anything like that. So we're just gonna wrap up here, and I would love, as we're wrapping up, if you would just pop in the chat a word or short phrase, about what you feel present to right now, right? What do you feel present to, right? Some of you have said, I feel certain and calm. It could just be that. But whatever it is, it's just a nice way for you to articulate what it is that you're experiencing, you're present to right now. And it's a nice way for us to close. And I'll just be saying, a few things here. So just remember, the peak of the Lion's Gate is actually tomorrow on the 8th. There are a lot of different people who are doing practices tomorrow. If you decide you want to do that in the depending on where you are in the world, the full moon is on Saturday, but it'll be in the morning. Okay. So the moon that you'll see will be Friday night, but then of course the moon will also be big on Saturday, right? So this is a big Aquarius full moon. Go watch the full video that I did about the Aquarius full moon in Lionsgate if you want to get more about the human design perspective on that. That's also, I'll put the link for that down in the description and on YouTube, so you can see it, and I'll put it on Facebook too. So that you can get more of those details if you want to. But make the best of these powerful energies. It's like when the when the human world goes sideways, right? Then the celestial energies are a great place to turn, because there's so much auspicious energy that's happening right now. There's so much beneficial power that is available to us. And so that's what I do, is I tune into that, because it helps me to navigate the challenges in our world right now. So thank you for being here. The recording will be up. I will, I'll leave the recording up for at least another week. So do come back and do it again. And I will think about doing some more of these, because I enjoy doing them, and I think you guys are enjoying them too. All right, let's see. What are you saying as we close out here? Okay, so thank you so much. I'm growing so aware of the stories I tell myself these times. Yeah, see, that's really important, because just everybody remember, you are the power in your life. We've been so programmed to believe that we're powerless and we're helpless and we can't do anything. It's just not true. But the power does not come from trying to control things outside of us. The power comes from building our power on the inside, right? Which again, this particular book, Feminine Sovereignty, is really a step-by-step guide for how to do that. And then how to bring your sovereign self back out into the world. So I'll put the link for if you want to check that out below. I do have a 50-page excerpt that you can get for free if you want to check it out first before you buy it. Okay. So question, does the energy work for a couple of days? This energy, it's not so much that, the energy from the Kriya will dissipate. It'll be with you for today for sure. But one of the reasons we say practice every day is that you need to start again, right? Practice again, practice again, practice again. But what will be here is the intentions that you're setting, right? And so that's why, what's your intention for how you want to show up right now? Right. So that's the thing that will carry forward with you. And it's good if you revisit it though, because that also, we can just so fall back into our default energy so fast, right? So we want to be able to keep reinvigorating and refueling what it is that we want, rather than falling back into default energy. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity to prepare for the peak of Lionsgate. You're so welcome. Well, as a spirituality of body, yeah, yeah. Tam, a lot of ascension symptoms in my body. Well, I'll tell you, if you do have ascension symptoms, doing practices like this will really help, because it'll just help keep you releasing the things that are in your way. Because in order for us to really evolve and so-called ascend, we have to release a lot of energy, right? We have to release layers and layers and layers of programming and conditioning and trauma and so on. So doing practices will help you do that. So I highly encourage you to do that. Okay. Thank you so much. And then thank you from the bottom of my heart. I feel present. To feel my pain so I can step into my power. Yeah. Feeling your own pain is not a bad thing. A lot of times we're afraid of it, but if you can be in an expanded state, you can hold yourself with compassion. You can hold yourself with love and kindness and just feel the pain, and then just breathe, put your hands on your body, give yourself some energy, love yourself through it. And you'd be amazed at what happens on the other side. Okay, thank you. It was powerful. Inhabiting and expanding my own space. Love that, Helga. I asked your book for Christmas last year. So you got it. Okay, plan to start it when I get the sacral hit for right timing. Was the best present I got. Oh, awesome. Well, I encourage you to give it a shot, because I think that it really is. I didn't realize it at the time when I wrote it, but it really is like a step-by-step guide for awakening women in the Aquarian age. That really is what it is. All right, my friends, thank you for being here. Thank you for those of you who are going to be watching the recording later. Many blessings, much love. If you're watching this later, please do leave a comment. Unfortunately, these comments don't transfer over, so that's why I like to read them out loud so you can hear what we've been doing here. All right. Many blessings, my friends, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.